February 19, 1945. Beach Green 1, Iwo Jima. Corporal Tony Stein hits the sand and sinks to his ankles. The ground gives way under his weight, black volcanic ash swallowing his boots like wet cement. Every step is a fight. Around him, 30,000 Marines pour onto an island barely 8 square miles across, defended by 21,000 Japanese soldiers who do not fire. They do not move. The beach is silent, too silent. For 3 days, the U.S. Navy has pounded this island with nearly 7,000 tons of shells. The expectation is devastation, craters, ruins, dead ground. What the Marines find instead is emptiness. High above on the slopes of Mount Suribachi, Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kuribayashi watches the landing unfold. Beneath the island, 11 miles of tunnels link 800 pillboxes and artillery positions the bombardment never touched. His orders are simple and absolute. Let them land, let them move inland. Do not fire until the beach is full, then kill them. Stein knows none of this. What he knows is the weight in his hands, 25 pounds of metal that does not exist in any Marine Corps manual. It fires 1,200 rounds per minute. It was built from a crashed airplane, a broken rifle, and scrap steel. Officially, it is an unauthorized field modification. To Stein, it has a name, the Stinger. Before this day is over, it will tear open fortified positions, kill 20 enemy soldiers, and define the 8 hours that earn him the Medal of Honor. But the problem this weapon was built to solve did not begin on Iwo Jima. November 1, 1943, Empress Augusta Bay, Bougainville Island. The Marines hit the beach at dawn. Within 90 minutes they are dying, not to artillery, not to naval guns, but to something quieter. Japanese snipers turn the jungle into a vertical killing field. They climb 60 feet into the canopy and wait for hours without moving. One shot, then silence. Private First Class. William Colby watches his squad leader take a round through the throat. There is no muzzle flash, no warning crack, only impact. Colby never sees the shooter. This is the math of jungle warfare. In 1943, a Japanese sniper exposes himself for roughly 3 seconds per shot. A Marine machine gun crew needs more than 4 seconds to identify a target, traverse, and fire. By the time the first round leaves the barrel, the sniper is gone. The Marines have a firepower problem. Their standard machine gun, the M19 19A4, fires 400 to 500 rounds per minute. It weighs over 30 pounds. The tripod adds 14 more. It takes 4 men to operate and reposition. Against an enemy who fires once and vanishes, it is the wrong tool. Too slow, too heavy, too deliberate. What the Marines need is something that can drown a patch of jungle in bullets instantly. Something one man can carry, aim, and fire on the move. That weapon does not exist, not officially. It exists only by accident. The AN-M2 Browning was never meant for human hands. It was built for aircraft, specifically for the rear cockpit of the SBD Dauntless, where a gunner sat strapped into a metal seat, cooled by a 200-mile-per-hour slipstream. Its numbers are extraordinary, 21 pounds, a rate of fire between 12 and 1,500 rounds per minute, 20 to 25 rounds every second, nearly 3 times faster than the M1919. Everything else about it is wrong. No stock, nothing to shoulder, no conventional trigger, only spade grips with thumb buttons, no sights. In the air, gunners aim by watching tracer fire arc toward enemy aircraft. The AN-M2 is designed to be bolted to an airplane and operated by a man who never has to move. On the ground in a jungle under fire, it should be unusable. In theory, impossible. November 3, 1943, Bougainville perimeter. Private First Class William Colby finds the wreck 3 days after it falls. A smashed SBD Dauntless lies tangled in jungle growth 400 yards from the American line, its wings broken, fuselage split by the trees. The pilot is dead, the rear gunner is dead. Their aircraft burned, but not completely. Bolted to the shattered frame, the rear gun remains intact. An AN-M2 Browning, scorched but serviceable. Colby strips it from the mount and drags it back through the undergrowth. 21 pounds of steel never meant to touch the ground. He has no machine tools, no manuals, no permission. He cannot remove the spade grips. But 2 days earlier, a bar in his unit took shrapnel and lost its usefulness. Colby scavenges the bipod. He clamps it to the AN-M2's barrel jacket. The fit is wrong. The balance is terrible, but it holds. That night, Japanese soldiers probe the perimeter, moving softly through the trees. Colby hears them before he sees them. He drops prone, settles the crude assembly into the dirt, and waits. 3 figures step out of the jungle at 40 yards. Colby presses the thumb button. The AN-M2 does not crack or thud, it screams. 1,200 rounds per minute, a sound like canvas being ripped apart. In a second and a half, 30 rounds tear through the clearing. All 3 figures collapse. The firing stops as abruptly as it began. The jungle goes quiet again. The idea works. The impossible weapon works. But the flaws are obvious. The spade grips make controlled aiming nearly impossible. The gun is awkward to traverse. Colby cannot move with it. He can only fire from prone. What he has built is proof of concept, not a solution. If this weapon is going to matter, someone has to solve the engineering. That man is Sergeant Milan Grevich, 3rd Parachute Battalion. Grevich is not a typical Marine. Before the war, he worked in a machine shop in Mountain Iron, Minnesota. Population 967. He learned to weld at 14. By 18, he could fabricate parts from technical drawings. By 22, he was designing his own tools. The Paramarines recruited men like Grevich for a reason. Parachute troops fight without supply lines. When equipment breaks, they repair it. When equipment does not exist, they build it. Grevich studies Colby's improvised gun and sees both promise and failure. The AN-M2 has no stock, so he takes an M1 Garand stock from a damaged rifle, cuts it down with a hacksaw, hollows it to fit the AN-M2's buffer tube, and bolts it in place. The spade grips work in the air. On the ground, they are slow and unnatural. Grevich fabricates a trigger from sheet metal, modeling it after the Garand's trigger group. The linkage must convert finger pressure into electrical contact with the AN-M2's solenoid. It takes him 2 weeks to make it reliable. There are no sights. Aircraft gunners aim by watching tracer arcs, but in daylight jungle fighting, that is useless. Grevich removes a rear sight from a bar, machines an adapter plate, and mounts it to the receiver. The weapon must move with 1 man. The bar bipod becomes both forward grip and support, mounted just ahead of the receiver. The finished product is ugly. A stitched-together machine gun made from 4 different weapons, held by bolts, welds, and stubbornness. It weighs 25 pounds. It is 40 inches long. It fires 1,200 rounds per minute. 1 man can carry it, shoulder it, and move. Grevich gives it a name, the Stinger. The sound it makes stings the ears. What it does to whatever it is pointed at is worse. Bougainville ends before the Stinger sees full combat. The 3rd Parachute Battalion ships home. The Paramarines are disbanded in February 1944. Grevich transfers to the 28th Marines, 5th Marine Division. He brings the design with him. September 30th, 1921, Dayton, Ohio. Anthony Michael Stein is born to immigrants from Austria-Hungary. His father works in a factory. His mother cleans houses. At 14, Stein leaves school not because he lacks ability, but because his family needs income. He finds work at Patterson Field as a tool and die maker. For 7 years, he machines metal blanks into precision parts, steel, aluminum, bronze. He learns tolerances, blueprints, and the discipline of exact work. In September 1942, he enlists, not in the regular Marine Corps, but in the Paramarines, the hardest training available. He stands 5'6". He weighs 130 pounds. Instructors see a washout. They are wrong. Stein graduates first in hand-to-hand combat, first in marksmanship, 3rd overall. What he lacks in size, he replaces with aggression and control. the kind learned by men who know how things are built and how they break. Bougainville changes Stein. So do the months that follow. Guadalcanal, Vella la Vella, then Bougainville again. Nearly 20 months of continuous combat, the kind that reshapes a man without asking permission. On Bougainville, the nickname finds him, Sniper Exterminator. 5 Japanese snipers in a single day. He hunts them the way they hunt Marines. Patience, stillness, one shot. No theatrics, no wasted movement. When he comes home in 1944, he weighs 190 pounds, almost all muscle. He is 2 inches taller. His eyes are wrong. His mother barely recognizes the man standing in her kitchen. When the Paramarines are disbanded, Stein transfers to the 28th Marines, 5th Marine Division, the same regiment as Sergeant Milan Grevich. They meet in November 1944, 2 former Paramarines, 2 men who understand the same hard truth that standard weapons solve standard problems, and the Pacific War has none. Grevich shows Stein the Stinger design. Stein understands it immediately, the tolerances, the stress points, the compromises. 7 years as a tool and die maker have trained him for this without either of them knowing it would. They start building. The regiment is preparing for something big. The enlisted men do not know what it is. The officers do. Iwo Jima, the most fortified island in the Pacific. They have 6 weeks, no factory, no authorization. They acquire AN-M2 aircraft guns wherever they can find them. Crashed planes, damaged inventory, forgotten corners of depots. Some are traded for, some are bought with whiskey, some simply disappear. They work nights in a maintenance shed at Camp Pendleton. Stein handles the precision machining. Grevich assembles, fits, tests. 6 weapons. That is all the time allows. 6 Stingers, no more. Grevich is in G Company. He keeps 1. 3 go to G Company's rifle platoon, 1 to the demolition section. The 6th goes to Tony Stein. Stein is in A Company, a different chain of command. There is no paperwork for experimental weapons. But Stein is a Paramarine. He knows how favors work. The Stinger becomes his. January 1945. The 28th Marines board transport ships, destination classified. At sea, Grevich and Stein keep working. Trigger mechanisms adjusted, linkages smoothed. Nothing about the weapon is finished, only functional. When the ships anchor offshore, the island ahead looks unreal. 8 square miles of volcanic rock and black sand, barren and sharp-edged like the surface of the moon. Nothing grows, nothing lives above ground. Everything lives below it. Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kuribayashi has had 10 months to prepare. He knows the Americans are coming. He knows he cannot stop the landing. He knows he cannot win. His plan is something else. He will make the cost unbearable. 11 miles of tunnels connect 800 pillboxes, bunkers, and artillery positions. His soldiers can move beneath the island, appear, fire, vanish, and reappear behind American lines. Every inch of beach is pre-registered. His gunners know the coordinates by memory. His orders are explicit. No banzai charges, no waste. Kill 10 Americans before you die. The Marines expect 5 days. It will take 36. February 19, 1945. The first wave lands slightly early. 8,000 Marines hit the beach. Tony Stein is among them. The sand is the first enemy. Fine volcanic ash mixed with sulfur that swallows boots and tracks alike. Men sink to their calves, vehicles bog down, movement is measured in feet, and the beach is silent. No artillery, no machine guns, no resistance. The Marines push inland, then farther, still nothing. Still. Staff Sergeant John Boss Lone, already a Medal of Honor recipient from Guadalcanal, leads his men toward the first airfield. Something is wrong, he tells his radio operator. It is too easy. Then Kuribayashi gives the order. The island detonates. Artillery erupts from positions the naval bombardment never touched. Mortars fire from caves invisible from the air. Machine guns open from pillboxes buried in the sand itself. Marines who were walking upright are cut down where they stand. The beach turns from landing zone into killing ground in seconds. Basilone is dead within hours. So are hundreds of others. And Tony Stein, standing in the open with a weapon that should not exist, hears the stinger for the first time in combat.
Tony Stein lands with A Company, 1st Battalion. Within minutes, the attack breaks apart. Japanese machine guns open from 3 hidden pillboxes overlooking the beach. Marines trying to move forward are cut down. The platoon leader is hit, then the sergeant. Men are pinned in the black volcanic sand, exposed to fire, too far forward to retreat, and unable to advance. Stein rises to his feet. He stands fully upright in the open. Tracer rounds snap past him. From the ground, the pillboxes cannot be seen. From standing height, their fire is clear. Stein tracks the tracers back to their sources. 3 positions. He lifts the improvised AN-M2 machine gun, the Stinger. The weapon does not sound like a standard ground gun. It fires at aircraft speed, a continuous violent burst. The first pillbox falls silent. Stein moves immediately, running across the sand. The slope slows him, but he does not stop. At the second position, the Japanese gunner turns too late. Stein fires into the opening until the gun is destroyed. He then charges the third pillbox, crossing open ground under fire, and silences it as well. 3 pillboxes are neutralized in minutes. Roughly 20 enemy soldiers are killed. The Stinger runs dry. The AN-M2 was never meant for infantry use. It empties ammunition at an extreme rate. Stein turns back toward the beach where ammunition is being brought in under artillery fire. He collects belts, then sees a Marine with a shattered leg. Stein lifts him onto his shoulder, carries him to an aid station, reloads, and runs back toward the fighting. He repeats the process again and again. Each trip is made under fire, ammunition forward, wounded Marines back. The loose sand makes movement go slow and exhausting. Stein removes his boots to gain traction. He removes his helmet to widen his field of vision. Barefoot and bareheaded, carrying the heavy machine gun, he runs across the most heavily defended section of the beach. Other Marines watch him pass, coated in ash and blood, moving at full speed through gunfire. The Japanese begin to target him directly. A sniper round strikes the Stinger, tearing part of the receiver loose. Stein retrieves the weapon, checks it, and continues firing. Another round cracks the stock. He binds it with wire and a sling and keeps going. By nightfall, A Company has pushed inland. Casualties are severe, but the unit is off the beach and still intact. Stein's actions are recorded in stark totals. Repeated ammunition runs under fire. Multiple wounded Marines carried to safety. Several enemy Poseidons destroyed. The machine gun damaged twice while in his hands. He is uninjured. That night, officers ask Sergeant Grevich how many more Stingers can be built. None. There are no more aircraft guns available. No time to modify others. 6 weapons were created. That number will not increase. The battle continues inland through sulfur fields, mine belts, and overlapping defensive zones designed by Lieutenant General Kuribayashi. When progress stalls, Stein advances. When units are pinned by snipers, Stein moves forward to eliminate them. When the flag is raised on Mount Suribachi, Stein is not present. He has been evacuated offshore after a mortar fragment tears into his shoulder. It should end his role in the battle. It does not. From a hospital ship, Stein listens to radio traffic. He hears reports of A Company taking heavy losses near Hill 362A. Doctors order him to remain aboard. Instead, he leaves. He takes a rifle, finds transport, and returns to the island. When the company commander sees him, he tells Stein he belongs on the hospital ship. Stein answers that he belongs with his men. No one objects.
A company is pinned in a ravine near Hill 366A. 3 Japanese machine gun positions lock the unit in place, firing down from rock and cave mouths with perfect fields of fire. 2 flanking attempts have already failed. Each one cost men. There is no safe route forward and no room to withdraw. Tony Stein volunteers to lead a patrol. 19 men move with him. The Stinger is barely holding together now. Cracked stock, loose trigger mechanism, rewired and taped, still firing. They advance up a narrow draw, volcanic rock rising on both sides. No cover, no concealment. The first position is set into a cave mouth, commanding the ravine. The Japanese gunner and Stein see each other at the same instant. Stein fires first. The Stinger screams. The cave goes silent. Stein signals forward. They move again. A single rifle shot echoes once. A sniper's round passes through Tony Stein's throat. He is dead before he reaches the ground. The patrol does not break. They finish the mission. The remaining machine gun positions are destroyed. A company advances. Stein's body is recovered and buried on Iwo Jima. The Medal of Honor recommendation moves up the chain with an unusual weight behind it. Officers who watch the landing write statements. Survivors add their names. The citation credits Stein with charging pillboxes one by one, killing approximately 20 enemy soldiers, and providing the fire that kept his platoon alive on the beach. 1 year after the landing, the Medal of Honor is placed around the neck of his widow. His mother stands beside her, an immigrant who came to America to escape violence, watching the country honor the son she will never see again. The 6 Stingers survived the battle. None survive history. They were never formally documented. No serial numbers, no supply logs, no official reports. After the war, they disappear, likely thrown into scrap piles with other non-standard equipment, and melted down without comment. The weapon that saved lives ends as discarded metal. The Marine Corps briefly considers the concept. An evaluation recommends a standardized version. Then, the war ends. The report is filed. The problem is deferred, even as it returns in later wars under different names. Too much weight, too little firepower, not enough speed for one man in bad terrain. Decades later, the idea finally becomes doctrine. A lighter, high rate of fire automatic weapon, built for a single soldier, delivering exactly what the Stinger proved under fire. Tony Stein was 23 years old when he died, the son of immigrants. A boy who left school early because his family needed money. A tool and die maker who learned to shape metal before he learned to shave. The skills that carried him across that beach were not only military, they were industrial, blueprints, machining, improvisation, and the refusal to accept that men had to die simply because the right tool did not exist. His grave marker lists his name, his dates, and his rank. It does not mention the Stinger. It does not mention the runs across the beach. It only says Medal of Honor. Sometimes that is enough.